nearly 200,000.
Like 200k
And,
people watching. Extremely talented. My
Thank you.
mum, that was a direct quote from my mum.
Him there singing, dancing in my head.
She said, Brad Heidi, extremely talented.
Personally, I love doing verses, starting into a song and why is that song good? I just instantly grab you.
She's a weirdo, he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
That's changed, the butterfly effect.
That was the one moment, and I left school and I was gone. I packed a bag and a guitar and I was gone.
As long as your message is true and what you're saying is real.
This is so weird.
Morning coffee with him, we're back. I just had a countdown from Barry there and I forgot that the last 3 was silent. I was like, when do I go? But I'm buzzing to have this podcast back on again. You will be noticing that we're in a fancier studio than my garage or my bedroom, which the last ones were recorded in. But this is a setup. It's incredible. Looking forward to having some incredible guests on. And we have the first guest here, Brad Heidi.
How do we do?
Give him a clap. Give him a clap. Give him a clap.
for myself there.
Man, here. We're all about self-love here. Clap yourself.
Which camera are you looking at?
You're looking straight. That one or that one, but
How
this
do we
is the
do?
one that's getting both of us.
We'll give them 2 thumbs each.
The TikTok superstar. What do you think of that?
The gob shite.
What do you think of TikTok superstar? Are you like...
I'm definitely not a superstar anyway.
Man, I don't know.
Not a superstar. As far as like writing music, I love that, like, but I don't know, I just hate that whole thing of, maybe it's because of where we're from and like, I feel like you can never get ahead of yourself. And anyway, I don't like that. It's not at me,
What's your... Let's talk about your stats. I know TikTok stats don't really matter.
Are we talking data?
They don't really matter,
data?
but let's go analytics. You've got how many followers on TikTok? Just to let the people know, this doesn't really matter that much, but it's just important to realize how far you've grown on the platform, like on TikTok, on Instagram.
Here's me going to say it now. Try not to smile. Nearly 200,000.
Like 200k people watching all your lives. Your main thing's the lives, right? Your main thing is lives.
Yeah, I suppose it's bizarre because that's what I would do for like my whole, I know, like income and sanity as well, because I'm just sitting there playing every day and I have to play music every day, otherwise I'll go mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So 200k on TikTok. What on Instagram? 40k, 30k,
40 something.
40k.
Yes, 40 something. Yeah.
Struggling on Instagram.
It's not moving. She's not budging, lads. We need to. Yeah.
They're very different. They're very different platforms. But anyway, no, look, extremely talented. My mum, that was a direct quote from my mum. Like she said,
dancing in my head.
She said, Brad Heidi, extremely talented, before I came here. And you've been killing it. You just released a song. You've been singing songwriting for how many years? What are we talking?
Long? Jeez, I started playing the guitar when I was, what age was I? I was 10, 11. And I sort of stayed at the same level as what I saw anyway, for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Like just playing the same like 3-4 chords. Well, maybe there was like 7 or 8, like 2 variations of the 4 quarters.
Yeah.
But for playing for, what am I, 24? So about like 13 years, I'd say. Yeah.
13
but
years.
Yeah, for quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to flex now, but I've been playing quite a long time, and I'm always learning every day. There's always something to learn. You can never sort of say you have it in the bag.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something to learn, and that's the beauty of learning an instrument, is that like you know, you never get ahead of yourself. You never get like,
it's never perfect
that way. It's never perfect.
Always something. Yeah.
But yet it's so perfect.
Very true. Very true. I don't have a musical bone in my body. Like the recorder's about the height of it.
You were
I did actually
tune in there in the kitchen. He was.
Exactly. Man, I played recorder growing up, and then I played viola. Actually, I had a little bit of a.
What is a viola actually?
A big violin.
Is it?
Man,
how do I not know that?
I know. Do you know what? Do you know?
We call a violin a fiddle as well. You see, it'd be a fiddle.
I see. Yeah. Fair. But I didn't want to play it. I only passed the exam. You know, I passed the exam at primary school, and they were like, "Oh, you can play this now." And I was like, "Well, sure, why not?"
Yeah. Was it kind of a like thing? Did your parents sort of make you like?
No, they were never. None of my family's musical. I don't know what yours is like. Is there any musical? Like, did this come from anywhere? Or is it more just something that you found out about and then you just kind of ran with it?
I don't know. If I have to play you a video at some point in this podcast of when I was like 16, and it's horrendous.
Is it?
It's I've never shown it to anyone, and it's me in the bedroom back at home when I was 16.
And you're happy with everyone hearing that?
Yeah, because I mean it shows. It's lovely.
You're not
to look
there
at
anymore, so it's
I'm not
nice
there anymore. But it's still there's you know, my back's like creasing every time I'm watching it. But like I think this would be the perfect place because we're back at home.
Absolutely.
And you know, here we are. succulent plants and everything.
I know. The place is looking great. That's nothing to do with me. The studio's amazing. But Ed
It
Sheeran said something similar about that on like Graham Norton or something recently. He played a video of him when he was like, because everyone was saying, "Oh, that's just talent. You know, you were born with that." He played a video and he was horrific. Like,
yeah, so really bad.
You and Ed Sheeran cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
I'd say you're better.
I'm a massive Ed Sheeran fan though as well. I'm a huge I would have been. I was like, I'm not gonna sit and say that like it's in the songs that I do, like, and you can hear that in the melodies and stuff that I write. Like, it's very much, it's changed anyway in the last 2-3 years, 100%, like miles away from it, but still lyrically I think it's, I'd found his lyrics were so honest, and it was very much black and white as it was, and I think that's so special, because nowadays, we were saying with Instagram and TikTok, it's so easy to
try and blag it, like, or not be yourself.
Absolutely, to make it look like, I don't know, a certain way that you think it should be.
Play a character essentially on
100%.
Instagram. Yeah,
and it's, I know to some degree we have to sort of I hate saying music or any of our jobs or businesses essentially. Yeah. But I think if you can get to a certain point where you find that x-axis where it's like truth and honesty.
I know. I love that you brought it back to the honest.
That was unintentional.
Yeah,
he didn't pay me to say that.
No, I didn't. Honest online coaching if you need to get into the best shape of your life, physically and mentally.
Me ripped underneath.
Exactly.
Absolutely
swelled. We will get you ripped. We will get you ripped definitely. But no, like
cowboy supper before I came here as well.
Did you actually?
Vinegar, salt, the whole lot. Yeah.
So is that something that you have normally at home, or you don't live that far away? You're down south. It's not as if you live in for.
Yeah, we're not a million miles away, but it definitely feels like a different country. It's very much.
There's chicken rolls down there, like
there's the chicken fillet rolls are the thing. It's like it's up here. It's
not heard of.
What would it be
up here?
No, it's not a thing down there. It's like mad. It's, how would you say? It's like going to the shop. You get milk and bread and chicken roll. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get. I
remember seeing you saying, you were promoting something on TikTok, and you were like, I'm eating a chicken fillet roll. And then I watched that documentary, the thing that Lewis Capaldi and Niall Horan done.
Oh, man.
In Mullingar, or around Ireland. Yeah. And he brought him to have a chicken fillet roll. First time I've ever heard of it. So it's not
it's a big thing.
It's not something you would ask for up here, like.
It's not up here, but down there, it's like the standard thing. If you didn't know what to eat and you were like, kind of, I don't want to get a takeaway. Can't really be bothered making food. Yeah, I'm going to get a chicken fillet roll. It's like €4.50, €5, and you're stuffed off it. Like,
I suppose up here, like,
I don't know why it's not a thing. It's so good. If you're from the north and you're watching this, go get chicken fillet rolls.
They're probably good. Like, the local shop could probably make you one. Like, it's not as if it's
just going. Imagine tearing up a packet of Carol's ham in the shop and a loaf of bread. Take that away.
If you only get chicken in like down south, like, or chicken fillets, but I don't know. It's just not something that's asked for. But as we're on the conversation of food,
we're more ham fans, aren't we? Up here, we're like ham sandwiches.
I love a bit of ham. Like,
I love a ham sandwich, smoked ham or something.
I probably buy ham every single day in the shop. Like.
Oh, it's so bad as well, because you know the way. I know it was. Maybe it isn't. Is ham bad? Because I was just going into like preservatives and salt and
definitely processed. Like, that's not the way a pig looks. Whenever we were talking about shopping, going to the shop, I thought of coffee. Obviously, morning coffee with Tim. Coffee lovers, you're a coffee lover. You wouldn't be here if you weren't a coffee lover. Yeah. Well, that's not that. Tea lovers are okay, but coffee people are my real people.
I agree.
What's your go-to coffee order? Now, you can tell me go-to coffee order. Obviously, if you're going into a shop and it's a machine, you're limited.
Yeah, but sometimes machines, we were saying, are so good.
They're decent, like.
They're so good. Like,
they're decent. Do you know what's your go-to coffee order in a cafe? Like, if you were going into a cafe.
So I'm walking into like an independent coffee shop.
What's your favourite?
And they have succulents like outside, and it's white chairs, and it's pure like dainty looking, quaint and eloquent. Like, I'm going in, I'm ordering either, depending how early it is and depending on the weather.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
It's 7 o'clock.
It's a cold day. Like.
It's a cold day. I'm getting like I'm getting a flat white.
Nice.
Flat white.
Normal milk?
Depends. I have notions. I'm a freak. Like, sometimes I just get oat milk for some weird reason. I don't know why. So I don't know why sometimes I order oat milk, because I don't mind either or. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oat milk changes the taste of a coffee.
It does.
Lot, like, it really does.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes people think, like, my local coffee shop, they'll be like, oh, why are you taking oat milk? Is it like are you intolerant to something, or you can't have dairy? I'm just like, no, it's just
class, like.
Yeah, just fancy it.
Because it makes it like, I know, makes it kind of creamier, like a darker, richer kind of flavour maybe.
Yeah.
But then what if oat milk is actually closer to the original taste of coffee and milk was actually all this time the thing that put a big cloud over it, like.
That's what's going wrong. The dairy industry is
what if it is? What if it was like, do you know, what if there was I don't know. What if the true way to experience coffee was with no milk?
Well, to be fair, it is.
It is.
It really is, like, because.
But then instantly when it's black that a shop has ruined it because it's bitter, and you're like, well, why did you do that?
Yeah,
like,
true.
Not that I'm not a diva, like, and I'm definitely not a drama queen when it comes to coffee. But like, I'm not waiting for it to be bitter and to give out. I'm still happy to have my coffee.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people think I am I'm a bit of a. Like, I have a coffee page, and when I was in London, I would review coffee shops. Like,
I saw that, yeah.
I would just go to a coffee, because I'd be working in them anyway, so I'd be like, right, I'll review this, and then other people, they know where the good spots are in London. And people probably think, oh, I'm a bit of a snob, but I'm not. I just know when there's a good coffee, it's like, it's an experience.
Yeah,
it's
frank and honest, like, it's...
Frank and honest.
Shout out to Frank and Honest if you're watching this as well. I don't know if you ever will. Maybe you will.
Here they might.
I love your coffee.
Frank's a big fan of... He's a big fan of...
Frank?
Frank.
Is he a real person? Like, Frank is like...
I assume he's not. It probably means frank and honest, as in...
being genuine.
Frank is...
Like, to be frank and honest with you, this coffee's unreal.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. The gingerbread hints are really hitting different these days.
It really is. It's weird because... Do you know the way you go into like a cafe that... Oh, fuck. Just for you to clink of that there.
It's all good. It's all good.
You know the way you go into certain...
It's authentic now.
It is. That's real. Real podcast.
That's it.
The... You know when you go into certain... I'll move this here. There we go. You know when you go into a cafe and they serve kind of like paninis and they're kind of a bit naff. Like, do you know the word naff is kind of like thrown together? They're not really... They're not that great.
Yeah.
But you'll go because it's the only one in the small little village you live in.
Yeah.
And then their coffee machine's just awful. And it's terrible. And then you wouldn't even go. And
it's making me emotional think about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It actually is making me really sad because I go in and I spot, like, I'll do like a coffee machine audit. Yeah,
I went into one today, and anyway, a friend of mine there was with me, and it was in Plumbridge, and there's only one shop with a coffee shop in Plumbridge, if they watch this and it gets on it, I'm in trouble. But anyway, I walked in, and my friend was like, he's down south, and, did you get us the coffee? I was like, yeah, no bother. And I went in and I looked at the machine and I was just devastated. I couldn't pour the coffee. I didn't want to pour the coffee and lighter and be like, here's the coffee.
Was it like a branded machine?
Oh, you had to shovel coal into the thing to get it going. It was it wasn't branded. It was just, there was like sticks.
With a fire underneath it?
There was like the stirring sticks. And they were just thrown beside it, like, and there was there was sprays of coffee beside. It wasn't cleaned. I'm not being a drama queen as well. This is standard when you look at a coffee machine. For anyone that's in
Plumbridge, they'll know. Like,
shout out to the lads in the Plum.
Aye,
coffee's class.
The coffee is good. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe it was just a bad day.
Maybe it was. You know what I think it was? It's the snow hitting, like, and it's been so cold that they were just like
everyone's in getting coffee. Places.
Or maybe no one's even going to be outside in the shop. Like, there's no one really about Plumbridge today. Yeah. So maybe also
that's another
pure opposite sides. It was filled with coffee people. There's nobody there.
That's another bugbear of mine is whenever coffee machines are turned off in shops. Like,
oh, come on! You're just like, why would you do that?
It's sad, like. But one of my local shops, not going to mention them, love them all, but I go in at 9 o'clock, close at 10. They always turn the coffee machine off at 9. But now I don't normally get coffee.
Why do you get coffee at that time?
Well, it's maybe a hot chocolate.
You there freezing for the next morning, like maybe, 6 a week.
Maybe a hot chocolate, maybe something different. Yeah, but just the machine is off. When I go in and I see that screen off, I'm like, it's ruined my that night and the next day.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of or do you know when you've been looking forward and the machine's broken? And you're kind of, we're chatting a lot about coffee here, but but that's what we're here. Morning coffee with him. Yeah,
that's what
forget why we're here.
Absolutely, but coffee to me is an experience, and we will move on to something else soon. But coffee's like, it's not just.
It's a force to be reckoned with, isn't it?
It is.
It's so
and
magic.
I know, see, coffee fans are like, it's a different breed. Like, people ride or die for coffee. Like
100%. There's this thing anyway, and I was definitely one to kind of experience it. I never like putting too much of kind of my personality out into things. So everyone watching, this is a very weird, intimate place for me to be in, expressing myself, which is amazing. But
express away. We want only honesty and authenticity on this podcast.
Do you know when some people are like, I don't know if you do this, like, I'm sure you take pictures of your coffee. There was a time when I know you're there, you're like, oh,
don't
God.
assassinate my
I'm not assassinated, but there was a time when I was like, obviously just traveling around the country with just a bag on my back, being a pure pure free musician, like, is the way to put it, like, without being too, like,
we will get into the music soon as well after we finish the important stuff about coffee. Cool. But
but anyway, and I was kind of I just remember this one time, and I think I was just frustrated at the world because it was kind of putting out so much energy into the world and just felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere, do you know? And I remember just one morning I used to smoke, so it's coffee and cigarettes. I don't know, you haven't smoked ever?
Never smoked a cigarette.
You're completely right to do that. Anyway, outside, what am I getting at here? Work. Was outside having a cigarette and a coffee.
Yeah.
And this lady here was just standing outside the coffee shop, and she was pure like trying to get the angle in of the coffee, and I was just so frustrated at the world.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, oh my god, what has the world come to? You're photographing your coffee. And I know this is the contrast of like us sitting here, because like there was a time where I was sort of, I suppose, like looking at this and being like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
I know the people are like,
You
oh.
felt
But that was
anger at
more
that.
to do with social media, and I
Yeah.
suppose, and I think it wasn't. I don't think it was like an angry thing of what she was doing. I think it was just a whole frustration at the world for being so engulfed in
concept,
social media.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
You know,
taking that
because I
without
care
actually
about my
enjoying it
coffee.
for herself. Yeah.
Absolutely, like I care so much, and we're getting really deep here. Tissues, where are they? Where, you know, we really, obviously you care about the taste of a coffee and how it like just,
I cry over coffee all the time.
you know, so
I really do. It's with me in my good times and my bad times. Don't worry about it. Get
Yeah.
as deep as you want. Don't
oh my
cry,
goodness,
that's a bit
we'll
much.
put like a coffee cup in your casket. You'll be in your casket with like a mug
Man,
here.
don't worry. I have personalised coffee mugs. We've obviously got
Oh,
mugs
my
here, but
goodness.
I've got travel mugs too. That'll be in the casket with me.
Amazing, we'll do that. But it was more that I really just was trying to like chase moments and things and real experiences
Yeah.
and try and stay in them. I don't know if you're ever like harsh on yourself for never enjoying a moment as much as you probably should. And it's kind of a very personal thing. It really hits there when we talk about this, but like,
Yeah.
are you really enjoying that moment as much as, you know, you want to be yourself?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm very hard on me. I was anyway, for like, am I really enjoying this as much as I probably should?
Yeah.
And that was kind of me, like, while I was about 3
Living in
years
the
ago.
moment.
Living in the moment, trying to really find that. And I suppose, you know, it was really about like the real things, and I suppose living through your senses and through your eyes and everything that's right in front of you. And
Yeah.
I suppose then media came through it all, and it was kind of like questioning things. And then this one with the photograph of the
That was
coffee, and it was kind of like,
yeah.
oh
That
my
was something that
god,
was building in you.
do you know?
And then that was what was like.
for sure, yeah.
This is so frustrating.
But it's so funny because because realistically, you know, looking back now, it's like, well, do you know what? It's probably just a nice photograph. Number
Yeah.
2, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Number 3, she probably loves coffee so much that she actually photographed it, and she
Yeah.
probably has went there a million times
Yeah.
and loves that coffee so much she wants to be proud of it and share that around. So do you know?
I can see. I
funny
can
how you
definitely
see
see
things,
both
isn't it?
sides of it, because I've taken a fair few pictures of coffee.
You there with a photo album on your wall in your bedroom?
Absolutely. But I get what you're talking about, and I think it's a bigger picture. That coffee was essentially
The beacon.
symbolizing what you were thinking about, but being in the moment, so important. Like that, and that's when I feel. Speaking about coffee, and we'll move on in a second, but I feel very in the moment when I'm drinking coffee. Like,
Yes.
I'm thinking about nothing else. I'm present. See, when I was walking today, like, I walk in the forest every morning with a coffee. People will be sick of it on my Instagram.
Yeah.
But again, videoing it, so it's on Instagram. But
But again, you're
it's still
you're
what I'm
saying
doing.
you're putting out good
Yeah.
good light into the world, like,
Yeah.
and it's not like you weren't just like, I know what her intention was, like,
Here's
but
it,
anyway, some
yeah.
people are just, I just don't like sometimes when people take and abuse power of like, look where I am, look what I'm doing,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you should feel like, oh, look what they're doing, that's amazing. Oh, some people aren't doing that, and they may be thinking, why am I not doing that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know,
Comparison
know,
might come in there.
be
on
considerate.
Instagram. Yeah. No, I totally get you. And
do you know what I mean?
Instagram especially, it's like, it's very easy for people to paint a perfect life. This is all stemmed from just a lady taking a picture of a coffee.
I know.
This poor lady, this lady
but
might
it's
just
important.
have been really loving the coffee. Like,
Probably. Poor woman, I feel so bad now.
No, man, but you're right. I think
It's
not
definitely
about,
a beacon for like the bigger picture. Like,
yeah, and
this whole thing.
it isn't about her. It's just about the concept of Instagram can be very, this is my life, showy. You know, if you're not doing this, it's wrong. Comparison, we all compare ourselves to other people, same
sure.
age, doing better things or more successful. There is no right or wrong. In my belief, you are exactly where you need to be, and you can improve from where you're at, and you only look back to see how far you've already come. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't kind of dwell on things, or don't compare yourself to other people. But I love that. But I wanted to go back, swing it back a bit. We actually went to school together.
We did, yeah.
We weren't in the same.
We didn't even. I don't think we knew each other at all.
No,
though. Yeah.
you're 3 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So you would have been 3.
Yeah.
We
Would
would
I
have
be-
seen each other in the school, but not,
Yeah.
we
But
weren't.
there was never like Sure, you wouldn't in school. It's never like a thing.
Yeah.
You're in this box that it's just like you're going to like science, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, you're like buying a tin of Coke off your man in PE.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like you're in this
self awareness isn't really there.
It's not there, no. And
you're living you go to school. It's crazy looking back, and I always like looking back in this sense to see like I didn't know who I was at school. Like I don't think does anyone know who they are? Some people are a wee bit maybe
oh my goodness.
more.
If any of my school friends are watching this, like.
Yeah, like you're probably a completely different person.
Well, I suppose.
Or you maybe are like.
I'm definitely me, and I think I've always been me. But in school, I suppose it's how would you put it? Like, I think it wasn't.
You're in a bit of a box at school, I think. Like,
definitely in a box. Yeah, it wasn't. Do you know? I think it's. I don't know how's the best way of putting it across to like
it's a
the
system.
general public. Yeah,
it's a system. Like school is a system,
absolutely.
And it's very hard to be yourself, show your true self. It's very like routine. You're there, you go to lessons, you come home, you're on the bus with your mates, and you come home. It's very easy to just for it to just fly, and you not to really actually sit down, figure out what you do, what you want to do, because you're doing things that you don't really want to do. You're doing like algebra and all this nonsense that you don't even really want to be doing. So then when you leave school, you have time to actually figure out who am I, what do I want to do, what do I want to get from life. And that's why I like really, I don't make my content for younger people, but a lot of it does apply in the sense of I wish you can only go off what you learn. And what I learned was that I wish I was more self-aware and realized, you know,
where am I like right now?
Yeah, like what other people say to you doesn't really, like, don't be affected by negativity. Don't be affected by people putting you down, because it's shattered a lot of dreams, like being completely real about it. Like how many people, I just spat all over myself there, how many people have stopped pursuing something that maybe they would have been incredible at and is their true passion because someone at school bullied them or said don't do this or don't do that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get it. Like it's even today, like I've a friend there, and she's just the most like phenomenal singer I've ever heard, and miles ahead of everyone. Like, and I'm not just like saying it's real. Like she's amazing, and I've not to like be like look at me, but I have met a lot of musicians and singers and that, like, and she's just amazing. And the thought of her like pursuing, that's her passion, like above everything, but she works a job, but like she knows that's what she loves, but her confidence has literally been like crushed right down that she will not like put herself on this platform, and that's so heartbreaking.
So frustrating.
Do you know, because everyone would, not everyone, I mean certain people that would sort of onlook and I suppose follow up on what I do in my life, or kind of I suppose think I'm in some sort of position now that it's just, oh, what you do is okay, it's acceptable, you've hit a point now where this is what you do.
Yeah.
So that's okay, do you know? But people like herself, it's like, oh, but no one's going to believe me until I'm at that point. Yeah. And it's like, how am I they're going to think I'm a joke until I get to that point, or... But it's like...
She thinks she has no credibility.
It's the credibility, exactly, yeah. It's
which isn't true.
That.
She's as talented, probably, as someone that is top
for
of
sure,
the charts.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's right there, and it's... I think it's only if you kind of see that yourself, and it doesn't mean you have to be like arrogant or like, I know I'm amazing, I'm class, because that's absolutely not what it is. But like it's I suppose a bit of self-belief and you know, a really, I don't know, I think if you're passionate about, fuck, I need to stop hitting this microphone. I think if you're passionate about something, that will come out of you anyway, and it'll follow. Like there was a time, and I never really said this anywhere, like, but there was a time we used to listen to James Blunt in the car going to swimming in Strabane. And my mum, amazing. Oh my goodness. Incredible. And he's my idol, and the first song, I swear to God, I've ever played in guitar. Yeah, you're beautiful.
What a song.
Yeah, and like, do you know, he's
incredible.
Amazing. And I always kind of, this is either gonna like, the people who are gonna understand this are gonna take it right or they won't. But there was a time where I played the song and kept working what I was doing, and I knew that I would meet him like at one point. And then last year stood in front of him at his own show in an arena, opening up for him, and was like looking him in the eye. And it wasn't even weird, it was kind of like,
yeah, this was always gonna
almost like faded in a way. And I suppose it's not a, you know, again, some people will get that and some people won't, like, and it was a real pivotal moment, but one that was I suppose it was almost perfect. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of me and
Yeah.
James Blunt class.
Yeah.
But we were just looking there. I was looking at him. I was kind of like, "You're actually the reason I started playing music. Like I played
Crazy.
your song first,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like, oh my god,
There's no
I love your
fanboy.
music.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, because I know again I will see James down the road, and he
Yeah.
knows that. Like, and again, like his drummer, I'd be like really good friends with his drummer,
Yeah.
and he's always I have a private Facebook, and he's always, not that I'm a big superstar as
Yeah,
you say,
no.
that I need a private Facebook, but I like to separate professionalism and
100%,
business
yeah.
with my private life.
Yeah.
So anyway, his drummer has me on my private Facebook, and we often connect. But the moment with James Blunt was, do you know, it was just a pivotal moment to say, if you feel like your passion is always there with you, and you can see exactly where it'll take you, like, and you're happy, most importantly, if you're happy,
Yeah.
and it feels honest,
Yeah.
you should go where you're going to go without, as long as you're not
Yeah,
promoting
yeah.
any sort of darkness or anything. I feel like you'll always
Yeah.
arrive where you're supposed to.
Incredible.
Jeez,
Incredible.
deep.
Man, absolutely. Here we can go as deep as we need to go, but I think some people shy away from telling the stories like that. Like, you have to go deep.
It's hard to say it without coming across arrogant as well. Do you know what I mean?
It's not arrogant in the slightest, and I think some people do hold back. But the fact that you think it's arrogant shows that you're a good person. Because some people would think just do it and that's their personality, and they're just like, oh, braggadocious. Yeah. I done this, I done that. But one thing I would say, self-belief. You talked about that like you were always going to meet James Blunt, like it was just going to happen. Like
it was just a case of when, it was kind of.
So did you
when.
think you always had self-belief? Did you always know where you were going to get to? Like, obviously you haven't finished, there's still loads more to achieve, and you want to achieve way more. But what do you think? You always knew that you were going to do this full time?
That's exactly it. I knew I was going to do it full time. It wasn't it wasn't a case of this was temporary. Like it was always it was nearly not even
inevitable.
Yeah, it was inevitable. I was going to say there, the music life chose me. I didn't choose it. But you know what I mean? But then you look music, like yeah, do you know what I mean? But essentially that's what it was, and that's the honest part of me, like is saying that like it was like it wasn't just. It's so easy to see now, and people see a number on a screen and look and see you have this many followers, you have that, and wherever else, like, and I just picked me here.
It's all good, man.
But like, if people saw the kind of the real journey, like, and I've never really spoken about this on a camera, like, or anything, because I don't like giving anyone an excuse for anything to say against me, but like this, I'm just putting it all out on the table here for you, like, and the people don't really see the long term, as in when in sixth form in the north we would have obviously, like, you have your study periods. Like, my study periods were spent in the music room in the academy. You know the little rooms down there?
Remember?
And I was just always
spend much time there.
I was always there, like, and I never studied music. I never done anything to do with music, but I was always there playing a piano, playing a guitar, and become almost obsessed with, like, and my school friends, if they're watching this, will know that, like, I slowly kind of faded out from the whole social side of school and almost became this, like, kind of like little weird solo freak, like, that was like floating in out of the music room on my free periods, and then on a Friday I would go busking in Derry and not like bring my books. I'd put my, and you're like 16, so your teachers are kind of like, does he not realize that, like, he's like supposed to be in here going to class? And then they just kind of think you're a bit stupid, and you're kind of like, well, I'm trying to not be rude and tell you I hate the school and your subject. The school is great, by the way. It's good for students that actually are focused on what they do. The school's amazing. You know yourself, it's a very, very good school. But as far as wanting to pursue, I think I wasn't very straight up and honest again with what I wanted, so I'd kind of go off, and there was a miscommunication then with obviously what I was pursuing and what they thought I wanted as well. But anyway, it was
that's an awareness thing as well at school that you don't have. You don't realise I would be way better off, and teachers would probably appreciate it more if you just went, I want to do this. Well, some would and some wouldn't. Some teachers would be like, no, you have to do this and stick to the, this is the way that your life is supposed to go, blah, blah, uni, move out, have a wife, kids, house, mortgage, all the rest. But there is always, do you remember any teachers or any kind of, not even teachers, but anyone that had a real influence? One teacher?
One teacher, and I hope one day that like hopefully my career goes off to a point where like hopefully
You can pay a mortgage.
he'll pay
You'll pay his mortgage.
like start a coffee farm.
Absolutely.
But his name was Mr. A. Do you know Mr. Arbuthnot?
Man, I know him well.
What a legend! Like he
What
was
a legend.
So real, so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so composed, so real. Massive respect, and I hope that like. Not like we
I think
we are where we are, and I don't want to make a big deal of it. But he literally was like the one that sat down, brought me in after class, wasn't doing my work, wasn't interested, I suppose, and he was like, "What are you doing?" Just what are you doing? I was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to play music," like and he's like, "Well, why don't you do that?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ding."
I know.
Why am I not like playing music?
Yeah.
I'm skipping these classes on a Friday, and I'm too afraid to tell my teachers because they'll think I'm a waster.
Yeah.
But yet, this is becoming so much a part of my life and passion, and so real, and so it just filled me up so much, like to go and do this. Then he just said, he goes, well, look, he said, in the easiest way, he explained it. He looked at me and he said, and you know what he was like? He kind of the teacher. He knew the things in his control were in his control. The things outside or whatever else. So he'd come in, throw his feet in the desk, and he'd be like, right, you're here to learn. If you don't want to learn, that's fine. He's like, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to push you if you want help, if you're interested. And he was great that way. But what he said was, if you put 50% into one thing and then 50% into another, they may work but they're not going to be at that exact sweet spot that you want them to be. Essentially, he said they're not going to both become successful. But he said if you put 100% into one or the other, it will work.
Yeah.
And I swear that was the one moment, and I left school, and I was gone. I packed a bag and a guitar, and I was gone. And
this is when you were 16?
This was when I was 17.
17?
Yeah, I'd say I was turning. I was just turning 18 even. Yeah, I was just about then.
Yeah.
But it was
And
it's kind of like a blur now.
Just like a light bulb moment of like, but that's the impact that a teacher can have. Like
that's a good teacher
can have an incredible impact.
Yeah.
Like you remember, I look back at my school times, and I remember the really, really genuine teachers. Like, and I don't remember the other ones are like non-playable characters in my life. Like, you just kind of seen and went in, and they didn't really have an impact on you. Mm-hmm. But a good teacher, that's why I think, I know the school system gets a lot of hate and stuff, but a good teacher that understands the pupils and understands that, there isn't a right and wrong in a lot of scenarios, and they really want the best for you. They don't want the best for their job or what they've been told to,
absolutely,
to do.
Yeah.
That can change someone's life, and that can be the difference between, like, you see some super successful people and they always talk about teachers and they get really emotional and like really well up thinking about the teachers that had an impact. That's what a teacher can do. Unfortunately, there's a lot. We won't name any names, but there's a lot of teachers
there
who are
is.
just in it because it's just like
because they want
a job. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And it's I think for like I don't know. I'm not a teacher, so I don't want to give obviously a little speech about like how teachers think because I don't know. But like I'm assuming anyway that certain teachers are. You know when they're there, absolutely, like you said. You know when they're there for you, and when they're just there because they're like
they have to be.
Yeah, and I know that I think there's a certain professional side you have to have. Excuse me, but like you have to be passionate about what you're doing. Do whether it's coffee or like music or whatever it is. You have to. Or fitness, obviously. Me acting like you were just like a coffee connoisseur.
I'm just a guy that drinks coffee. Sometimes,
Tim, are you a coffee cup?
Well, I think a lot of people just think I just do drink coffee.
To be frank and honest, are you a coffee cup?
I could be. It wouldn't be a bad life, to be honest. But
oh my,
it is. No, I 100% agree, and I think school can really mold you, and a teacher can really mold you, and it can have a massive impact. And it's great to hear that Mr. A, for me as well, I done psychology, and. He was an amazing teacher, like, and you could tell that he actually cared about students and would help you. Cause I think he gave me, I don't know why I'm thinking this, but I have a feeling that I know what it was. It's weird that we both, like, the same teacher had this impact, but in psychology, it was a class full of girls. I think I was the only boy, maybe two boys.
Right. Okay.
So we had to pick what we wanted to do: child psychology, criminal psychology, and then sports psychology was one of them. But obviously none of the girls, not obviously it's sporty girls, but all the girls picked
feminists.
Watch out. All the girls picked child psychology and something else, health psychology or something like that. You know, there was sporty girls, I'm sure, but I was outnumbered anyway. There might have been 3 votes for sports psychology, but he took the effort to go get me a sports psychology book. He brought it in. He was like, look at that in your own time. Like I could tell that you're really interested in that. And at uni, I went on to do sports psychology at uni for years, and I still use it in my job. Not so much, but when I work with athletes, I still use a lot of what was in that book, what I learned from uni, and that was such a small thing that a lot of teachers wouldn't.
It's that small bit of effort. It just changed. Do you know, like the butterfly effect?
Yeah.
And it was that small pivot moment where the x-axis just.
Man, when I think
and he got you that book, and the next thing.
When I think about the butterfly effect, I like it's a madness. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Think back to your life, like. There's certain stages of your life that just things would be complete. Like
if you didn't get on a bus or you didn't, you stopped playing an instrument, or imagine I like you know, you know what I'm getting at. It's like, imagine we didn't do that one thing, which is where we exactly started.
One thing we don't do. Oh, I'm hitting the mic now too. One thing that either of us don't do. We're not sitting here right now.
Yeah, like, isn't it mad? And after how many years, and you imagine even we didn't like know each other.
You could be a builder or something.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's Bob the Builder.
Brad the Builder.
Brad the Builder, yeah. Can't fucking fix a thing. Yeah, fix my life, would you?
Man, you found music, so that's all that matters. But I want to go on to, right, we've talked about school, incredible teachers. Shout out Mr. A, I hope you're listening. But let's talk now about after school. So you left school 17.
Yes.
What was the plan? What were you... I bet you were a bit scared, like, what do I do now?
It was kind of, if you want me being completely honest.
Yes.
It was the
Please.
honest coaching. It was the most exciting moment of my life. There was no fear.
There was a buzz there.
It was like double espresso sort of job. Like, it was like, oh my goodness, it was. Do you know? I don't know.
Feel like life was beginning.
Life just started when and I don't mean school is amazing, as I said before, for the people that it's right for. But oh my goodness, when I was literally, I'm using literally, lad, was waking up in hostels, and like, this is how it was. Like, this is not me trying to like make up another Ed Sheeran story because it looks good, and this is how I ended where I am. It was a full scale, like going to Derry. There was a few friends I knew from like a few years ago and that, like, going there, would stay at their houses and stuff first, and my mum would always be calling me as well, and she'd be like, where are you, where are you staying, are you okay? And I was just busking, like, and I'd go out and get hammered, and then I'd do it all again, and like then the next thing I was in Belfast, staying with friends there, just busking. And you know, you have like friends then that are in school and they've gone on to uni, and I'm just standing there like outside Victoria Square, like singing a JP Cooper song. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Nice. But you know something, I feel like they all kind of respected that as well, and they were kind of like, well, do you know what, like, he's looks like he's having a buzz, and I was having a buzz, and it was amazing. But the freedom was, do you know, it's the freedom of choice, of knowing, well, do you know what, like, I can go wherever I want to go, and you know, it's obviously not the most classy job to be doing in the beginning of your life when you leave, you know. It's and especially, I love where we're from in a way, but like the kind of,
you wouldn't be busking in
busking in Oma here, like, you know, someone would kind of be like, what are you doing? Yeah,
you also wouldn't. I mean? You probably wouldn't earn enough to make.
Yeah, you wouldn't hear, like, and you'd be very surprised actually, because it's funny it's funny that I say that, but I wonder if someone actually went out and played, would people turn around?
You should do it.
Would they create that positive energy and say, fair play to him, that's so good? Or would they be like, what's he doing? I reckon there would be more people being positive. Like,
I think nowadays, yeah, definitely. I think it would be received a lot more positively.
Imagine people coming in and out to school in the morning, or like at lunch break, and you're like outside Super
Value. You're definitely you
would get abused.
Everyone with a boost bottle in their pocket.
Yeah, the blazer, like, you know. Yeah. And everyone hated the jumpers.
Man, but we were like that. Like, I think if you look back at school, you always like to think like none of us were like bullies or anything like this, and we were still good people. But you look back and you go, you're so influenced by your surroundings and your friends, and all of you are naive. Like, all of your friends are just little twerps that just say, you're just, if one person says something, they're like, oh, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon, or
I'll try and be funny, I'll try and be I think it's an alpha. I think
it definitely could be. And I think if someone's like maybe different or at school and they're kind of away from the crowd, or they're not in the big group of friends, you probably look back and you think, oh, I would have never said anything, but we probably all did. We probably all did, and they're like, oh, she's a weirdo, he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
You just don't have that awareness when you're at school. And now I look back and I'm like, you know, Tim, you probably were a little like terror at times, like, and just not.
I was terrible in school. Like, I was always like getting in trouble. I was mad. Always.
Jake, was that because you just weren't doing what you enjoyed? It probably does come from just like
I think so.
Just not enjoying it.
I think it's not. I think it was. I wasn't enjoying it, but it was also just like, I think it was in my nature, like, as well. It was very much like really like hyper all the time. I don't know, do I have like ADHD or something like? But it was so hyper at school and was like,
yeah.
But it definitely was. You know, if you put me in a music room, instead of a physics room,
yeah, you're a nicer guy.
I'm not going to like shout out in front of the teacher. I'm gonna listen, like, and I'm gonna be in tune. And I suppose, I don't know, I don't want to say too much about the system, like, or anything, because it's great in so many ways, but like,
it has a lot
was
of
that
flaws.
Me, or was it like, or was
it has a lot of flaws,
you know,
for sure.
or is it for 6 years of his life he's like sitting in a room and it's like well, you're not getting the hint that like he's not happy here. It's like, well, is he a problematic child, or is the system problematic that he's not in that right category where he should be?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is you can look at both sides, but I think the system for sure could be better, and I think we can talk about it because you're now doing what you love. But there's a lot of people that were put off by being put in that box, and still aren't doing what they love.
For sure, and
could
I see that all the time.
30, 40, 50, and you could see someone doing something and their real passion is music, fitness, you know, whatever, sport. I talk fitness and sport, obviously, it's what I do, but
it's funny, so many
friends. They're doing a job that they hate because they've been told. That's whenever it's sad. Yeah. And I think that's whenever you look at the flaws in the system and be like, that's not good. But then because you've found what you know what you love, and you're doing it.
I'm very lucky in that way.
Yeah,
I'm very lucky. Like, it was, even looking now, it's I suppose with the last single, like, it kind of opened the door back into the north. Like, there was, thank you very much. There was people from school, you know, that I suppose everyone in my year was really lovely. There was nobody there that I was like didn't get on with, or that was really horrible. Yeah. Everyone was so lovely, and there's been this past year, because of the single and stuff and radio play and whatever else, I've sort of been in touch with certain people in my year, and you know, just you're kind of what are they doing now? And you're kind of like flicking through, and it's not like you're looking to see how well are they doing. You're kind of just like curious to see what are they up to and stuff. And so I was looking through, and do you know, some of them did do you know, some of them are gone, like some of them are dead now, like, which is really sad, and some of them went on to do the things that, you know, they really wanted to do, and there's some of them are like, you can see that they're, from what they're posting, it's completely, they've literally lied to themselves for their entire, and do you know, and what age are we now? I'm 25, nearly like 24.
Yeah.
That's like 7 years of your life, like, and maybe it's because they didn't know themselves what they wanted to do, but for the people that did know, maybe they still don't know, and that's completely fine. But I'm, you know, I don't take any credit for, I take credit for my work ethic and how much I put into something. Yeah. And I think everybody should take the credit for that, like. Yeah. But as far as like as far as having I suppose a musical ability and being able to just take on an instrument for, you know, the credibility of a vocal or something, if someone's saying, man, your voice is class, you can take credit for, you could have practiced and kept going to get it to the way it sits, or how it sounds in a song. But as far as like, I didn't wake up out of the womb and bang, and I appeared in this body with this voice or whatever else, good or bad, whatever you may make of it. Like, I don't put any judgment in that, like, you know. But it's but you know, it's, I don't take any credit for that. It's not my choice. The same way it's not someone's choice on the other side of the world to wake up somewhere where there's no water. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's,
and we touched on that before the podcast, that we.
She's really deep now.
And I know that we're spoiled. Like, I think that's why.
Coffee to poverty.
I know. I know us chatting about like, oh, I hate when my O flat white's not hot enough, and
then we're like, I didn't. I'm waking up in my body, man.
We actually have running water, like, but it is
so true.
That's why I'm big into like gratitude.
But we need to talk more. We need to talk about these things.
100%, and that's why I'm big into gratitude and like actually taking stock of what you have and not sweating the small stuff. Like it is, we get caught up in such like trivial small things that just don't
for
matter,
sure.
just
And as
don't
much
matter.
as we are in like a studio and there's microphones, realistically, like we both know that like the world does need, like, especially I suppose men, like, and I know it's become a thing of like men to talk up and whatever else, it's more a thing, which is amazing. But it should be that way. Like, we should be talking about the small things in life
100%.
and how privileged that we all are, and do you know, I'm putting that kind of I suppose that side of, what would you call it, like, it's almost oh, why is my brain not working? I usually communicate very well.
I'd love to come in here and tell you what that word is you're thinking of, but
what's that word? It's
I don't have a clue.
Anyway, it's maybe it's better that I don't find it.
It'll come to you. But I know I totally get that. That's why, like, in all my coaching, and you know, I call my program True Potential. Like, the True Potential program, everyone's true potential is different. Your true potential is completely different to mine.
Yeah.
But it's, no one can tell you what your true potential is. Like, it isn't like selling tours all over the world or whatever. It's whatever you see success as.
Yeah,
which it could be like.
It's mad because I'm just picturing like the two of us walking through the corridor past the library or something, just absolutely bollocksing about the place, and like here we are, we're like two grown men chatting. Absolutely, like, it's just weird, isn't it? We're chatting about it, but it's amazing as well.
It's a journey, like, and I think it all comes back to self-awareness, and it takes a long time. I'm not perfect in any stretch. You're not perfect in any stretch. No one is so super self-aware, but I think whenever you are, that's like the secret sauce to really,
for sure,
getting to where you want to be, is knowing your flaws, knowing what you're good at, and knowing what you want out of life, and knowing that, look, life's short, like, not to get real deep and philosophical,
and
but
don't be a dick, like, you know, you can like, just,
well, that's the basic one.
That's it, like, that's as easy as it goes. It's like, well, do you know, if you're,
why are there so many, for want of a better word, dicks in the world? Like, there's a lot of, I think that just comes from, you don't know anyone's life, you don't know their upbringing. Everyone,
for sure.
I'm very fortunate. Like, we're like, some people are way more fortunate than others in the way that they're brought up, and the people that they're brought up around and their environment. And again, that's why I show gratitude every day for how I've been brought up. But I think at the same time, we used to always be told manners cost nothing. Like, I'm sure you've been told that.
Yeah, my mum said that to me today, actually, on the way out, and that's one thing I said to her. I was like, you know what, I'm actually, and she reckons that's kind of the thing that, like, not look at me where I am now, but to where I am now, like, that is, she was like, that's one thing you've carried with you, like, and I do pride myself on that. Like, it's one thing that, like, was as much in school we were talking about, like, as maybe I wasn't as behaving attentive as I probably should have been. As a student, I was, you know, if I did something, I would own up to it, and I was courteous, like, and mannerly to some degree. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And that costs nothing. And I think there's a lot of things in the world, tangible or not tangible, that you can strive to have, materialistic, you know, personality traits. That is one thing that everyone can have. Like, being a nice person. I know sometimes people are dealt a harder card, and it's harder to be like that because you're in a tougher situation. But it really does. Manners cost nothing. And a lot of the phrases my mum said to me growing up probably went straight over my head, but that always stuck with me. Being a nice person.
It's funny what mum's saying, and like you only get it later. Like, waste not, want not was another one.
Here, mums are always right. You know? That's what I've grown to realise. They're normally always
right. They're so right. Like, we were literally at a restaurant there the other night, like, and the food was like amazing. I love food. Like, it's one thing I do spend money on, and it's coffee and food. I'll spend money on the two, but like, do you know, we had a whole load of food left over, and it was like, do you know, we didn't want, so we literally, like, we probably looked like absolute idiots, like, in this fancy place, asking them, and they don't have boxes, like, because they're like, we just put it in the bin. I was like, no, like, can you please go out of your way to get me a box of this? And I was like, waste not, want not, and, you know, it's kind of like, what are you doing? It's like, do you know?
I know, but that, like, I'm the same with food when it comes to food, not wasting anything.
I love grub, like, and I go through weird phases where I'll eat like, I'll eat salad for like a month, and I'll just eat like salad, and maybe have chicken with it, like, and then I'll just, like, for 6 months do the dog on it, like,
man. And here,
oh my goodness, it's
food. We could have a whole other conversation. Morning coffee with him, morning food with him, evening food with him. We could talk for hours about food. But bringing it back to the music, busking. Full-time job, that's what you do full-time?
That's what I did do. I don't really anymore, and I don't want to moving up in the world, don't busk anymore. Not stand in the street like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have done. I don't really as much anymore. It's all TikTok now.
Yeah.
So
you don't busk on
but
TikTok
I will,
anymore? Do you busk on because I remember you used to always be out and about, and then you'd clip little reactions from people on the street and stuff. Like you'd be under a tree and you'd be busking away.
Yeah, that was the last time I was actually was Ballina was there.
Yeah,
and it was actually it was like 3 months ago, so it wasn't. But I've mainly been just sitting indoors. But it's not to say I don't do it. Like I'm too good for it now. I'll go out tomorrow. Like if I have my stuff and do it. Like it's just so cold. But it's music, busking. I do gigs as well, so I do like I don't like post them online obviously because it's not to say pub gigs. Anyone doing pub gigs, it's not like. But you know when it boils down to, I suppose the business side and what my team are saying, and it's kind of look, don't promote like a pub gig because we need people to come to your shows. So like you can play away at your pub gigs the weekend, and no one knows you're even playing them. Like you know, and I just done one there like a few days ago, in like a restaurant place like in the middle of nowhere, like you wouldn't know where it is, and it's so I'm always tipping away at something like, but it's always music, but it stemmed from busking. Everything was just playing,
and I think you always have the love for that then obviously because you see it with a lot of famous musicians that were buskers. They always will. You'll see them sometimes dropping back. You just get busier and you have different priorities and you're trying to promote your music in different ways, and that's just the way it is. But I'm sure you'll always have that love for just...
For sure, yeah.
Because that is what you love, I'm sure, playing a guitar, singing, as we've talked about. That is your passion.
And it's really weird because some people just don't get that. They're like, how do you just love it? And I'm like, I just do. It's just in me, like, you know? It's I don't
have a
weird
musical bone in my body, but I completely get it.
Yeah, it's and I done the gigging scene. So when I was in Galway there, I was playing 6 nights a week in the pubs there. So with busking, it was, you know, you can go out at your own. You're not like, you know, starting and finishing at an exact time.
Yeah.
I know in Dublin it has to be that way, but generally if you go all around the whole country and set up anywhere you want on planet Earth in Ireland, like you can play to anybody, like, and you can just, you know, just do your thing. You can play whatever you want. You can play in whatever style you want. You can have a break when you want.
Yeah.
You can go when you want, you know, and you get paid, I suppose, not what you want, but like, you know, you usually in this country, like people they're amazing, like in this country, I swear to God, like they're so generous, like and I don't think it's coming for a place of, oh, the poor wee man will give him a pound. It's like they're actually, they stop and they fully listen to you for like half an hour and they'll like give you like £20 because they're like, that was class. Like I've never stood in front of someone holding a guitar and that sound just went straight into my ears live. Some of them haven't been to concerts or gigs, like, you know, it's not a massive thing here for people in Oma, I don't think, to go to gigs. Like it's Belsonic, things like that, big festivals, yes, but it's a festival. It's not really a gig. Like a gig is, to me anyway, I'm sure it is classified a gig, a festival.
Yeah.
But for me, like a gig is a thing where you're, you know, it's a thing. It's a more connective thing.
Yeah.
Like a festival is, you know yourself. It's
a stage and a
it's a festive.
Job.
It's a like a celebratory mass of people. A gig is more like intensive and like holistic, like everyone's really involved and there's a real magic in that room, and that's what they're
normally
coming for.
There to see that one person
for sure,
you know, whereas a festival you could have, you know, 20 people on the lineup or whatever, Glastonbury or whatever, you could be seeing everyone. So I think that's why there's an energy in a gig. Like I've been to a few gigs, like in London I went to see Baby Keem and he brought out Kendrick Lamar.
Oh my goodness.
And like 1,000 person.
Were you with McCann as well?
I was with McCann, I'm always with McCann.
It went off.
1,000 person venue, and it was crazy. That's a gig.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get that at a festival, because I'm pretty sure Kendrick Lamar done headline Glastonbury like the week before, the week after, one of the two. And you just can't get that up. You just can't get that. You
can't. And I don't know, is it, not to get too deep in it, but like, is it because the festival's open air and there's no walls to keep an energy in? Do you think is that it?
It probably is what it is. Because
it could be.
Speaking of McCann, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this, most people listening to this, know who McCann is. My mate who's a comedian, I do another podcast with, Dirt Civil. But he always talks about it in the comedy sense. He'll do hotel rooms, and then he'll do like comedy clubs, which are built for comedy. And it's probably very similar to what you're saying about a gig, which is intimate and close and like walls. You've got walls and you're in a room, compared to an open air, like a festival. there's an atmosphere. Like I've been to see a lot of comedy. Like I'll nearly critique comedy. I've been to see it that much. Like I'll be like to McCann, oh, the roof in this place a bit higher, like such and such.
You'll be.
I know I'm like clapping around the place to test the acoustics, but he says the same, and I'm sure it's the exact same as what you're talking about. An intimate setting for comedy, for music, for whatever. It's just totally different.
For sure.
And it's why a good comedy club is so important. It's just the same as, I'm sure in music, there's iconic venues like the Ulster Hall, for example, or say like the O2 Academies are quite, they're all built for smaller gigs, or even like smaller pubs, whatever. I'm sure you have places. Where's your favourite place that you've ever
that I've ever played? Yeah. Venue-wise?
Yeah. That you've been like, that was incredible, which has a lot to do with the venue, yes, but I'm sure the crowd plays a big part in it too. Like.
Probably, what would I say? Probably, I'd say the INEC Arena. Like, it's a place down in Killarney, and it's like 4,000 capacity. Like, and they call it an arena, but it's more like a square hall.
Yeah.
And there's a second layer. Yeah. And then it goes up kind of like that as well, a small bit to the sides. But it's also, the stage is huge, and I love big stages. Like, I love them. That's when I really come alive. Like, is real performance. Shouting, big energy, looking at crowds. Do you move around? And the big things, I have to move around. Yeah, you have to. Like, you have to address everybody and look at them all and do that. But what was this? And this is my point. Why it's my favorite. You have that atmosphere, and you can have that big sort of progression as like a one-man artist. Yet you can go to the edge of the stage, and you can look at people directly in their eyes right there, and you can see their eyes light up, and you look at all of them. And for me, this is so overused, and I don't want anyone listening to this to think like that it's kind of a cheesy thing that every musician says. Yeah. But when you look at somebody and they're looking right back at you at an audience, that's the magic moment. That's the moment where you know that you're ticking the box for what your purpose is. Your purpose is to put something you've created, and they absorb that. Like, and it has to be a good thing. It has to be. It doesn't mean it can't be sad, but as in light, it has to be something that they feel that helps them and builds them. Man. And when you see somebody that they come to gigs, they hear songs, they listen to music because obviously it helps them feel something that maybe they can't express themselves. They don't have that capability or tool to like maybe. And I do, like, there's times I like drive in the car and I'm listening to like a certain artist, and I'll purposely put that song on because I just want to fucking bawl my eyes out. Like, and it's like, it's the same at a live gig. Someone will absorb what you're doing, and when you can see them and they're expressing themselves, and to me, like, that's the purest form. I die a happy man knowing that, like, that's the purest form of Mr. A saying, go and do that or don't. Yeah. That was exactly why. That's exactly what it was about. Like, it was never about do you want to play Madison Square Garden? Yeah. Do you want to play Wembley? It's like, of course I'd love to. Yeah. And hopefully, all being well and according to plan, it's gonna happen. We can, like, if it goes to that point, and but it's not about the size of the crowd, and it's not about. It was never about a venue, and it's not about me as such. Yeah. Of course it is about me, like, delivering what that's about, but there's. It is about people, like, and you go in to get your coffee, you're paying for a good coffee, you want a coffee that makes you feel something. You go into a massive venue or an artist that really triggers your emotions, you're paying for a ticket to get a real connection and an experience with that artist that delivered something to you, like your coffee, the song that really brought something out in you that you just couldn't explain, but it existed, and it was so like magic, and that's essentially just why I do the whole thing. And you get that on a street. Like, you get it on a street, sometimes more so than a pub. Yeah. Sometimes there's loads of energy in there. Yeah. And
they have to choose to stop. Like, it's connection. Like, it's connection. It's amazing, people. Like, you've made me really want to be able to sing. Like, I just can't sing, but it is connection. And even in what I do, it's all about connection and people. And, like, I think it all comes down to that. The truest form of a passion is, like, bringing people with you, and, like, whether it is coaching or whether it is music or whether it is comedy, it's just like that, being able to have that impact on people in any way. That's where you realize what I'm doing is worth it.
And that's what we're saying with the people, that can be dicks. Why are they why is there so many dicks?
Yeah.
Is that because they don't have is it because they don't have that tool to express themselves, and so it comes out as it's easy to be angry at everyone else and to be annoyed at everyone else but yourself.
Victim
is it that failed expression and that failed like I know habit of like just being able to be clear with everyone around you, put your own energy out without being afraid to do it.
Yeah.
So it's coming out in the bad way. You know, maybe this is what all this is for, to kind of recoup all that, like, you know, and to steer people in the right direction.
Yeah.
Do you know, I don't want to, I'm sure we probably don't want to be looked at as like, do you know,
we are the best. No, I know, but it is like,
but it's the little things, like,
no one's
it?
perfect, but and that's what I'm not doing this podcast just to you know, randomly just put out content for the sake of putting it out. Like anything I do, I think a podcast, I listen to podcasts for a start. I know you listen to podcasts as well, and it's like, you can really get a message across, but it has to have impact. It has to, like, I want people, this podcast was designed for people to listen to when they're out getting their steps in, having a coffee. You know, that's where it all came from. And that's when, even if it's just one thing you've said or one thing that triggers something in someone's mind, like that Mr. A moment that you had.
Yeah.
If we can give someone something like that, then we're not better than anyone else or worse than anyone else. We're all human beings on this planet trying to figure it all out. But one little moment, and I've listened to podcasts myself, and I'm sure you have, where it's been like, or that Mr. A moment where it's like, that's changed the butterfly effect, that's changed the course. Like,
absolutely,
that's a bit of belief.
Yeah.
And if you just say something, or if we say something in this podcast and someone goes, that makes them be like, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to I'm going to start spending more time on my passion, or I'm going to, you know, do more things that I love. I'm going to spend more time with myself. That's all I want. If it's one person or 10 people or 100 people, and I think like that's what a good podcast should do. Yeah, look, there's,
because I'm not a podcasty person. Like, I would never agree to come on a podcast, but I was like, do you know, this is the one place that and this is probably the only podcast that I'll ever do. Like,
man,
I swear this is. I'm not like, do you know, it's more like, I see what you're about, like, and what you've been doing, and it's do you know, and I'm probably, I try to stay as far away from that whole like influencing and putting out that thing. It's not to say I don't agree with it, like, but you do your thing in your way, and I just love it, like, and it's so, you know, you can tell straight away when someone's like, sure, media has been our thing for our whole probably careers, like, is to make things move and work, and in that perspective. So you can tell when someone's not being authentic. You can 100%. Tell when it's not real.
100%.
And, you know, I can see when you're, you know, you may be talking about like steps and whatever else.
Yeah.
But it's more the fact of saying, well, do you know what? If you can't do it, like, don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Because we are all human, like, and that's
100%.
And that's 100%. What I really liked, and it wasn't. Do you know? There's a lot of people telling you what to do and how to do it, and this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
But there's also a side to that. It's like, well, and by the way, if you can't do it right now, you know, don't be hard on yourself. Like, you also have to live, and you have to. And that was the one thing I really picked up on. I was like, fair play to him. He's fully, like, looking at the whole person, you know.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was very real, and it was a really good message just in general.
Man,
you know, I was trying to get pure deep into why I really love what you're doing, but it's good. Anyone that's listening to it, like, you'll know that it's class.
I appreciate that.
It's a
lot.
good motto,
and it is. I'll slip you that tenner later, but it is, and it's the same with what you do. It comes across that you love music, like that's what you're here to do, and that's why you put out so much content. And content, TikTok, Instagram, it's just a vehicle to show yourself, and for me, it's adding impact. For you, it's making people smile and enjoy your music and feel that emotion that we were talking about. For me, it's helping someone discover their true potential. That's where the honest thing came from. Honest online coaching came from the fitness industry and a lot of industries. Instagram, you know, it's full of a lot of like fakeness and lies and filters and just people not being their true selves. So I was like, right, if I can be honest with people, and people can be honest with me, clients can be honest with me, or people who I work with or have an impact on can be honest, we can help you live your best life, you know. Live your best life sounds very woo-woo, but your true potential. That's where the honesty came from, because I seen it. I was like, that person, that's not you, or someone doing a piece of content.
And you know that it's not.
It's so easy. You can't fake. You just can't fake it long term. But speaking of TikTok, speaking of Instagram, I wanted to kind of go on to TikTok. Is your pretty much, as you were saying, it's what you spend a lot of time on.
Yeah.
And I think for someone like you, it helps a lot of buskers reach a wider audience. You know, and where's TikTok for you at the minute? How much of a benefit has it been, I suppose, over the C word? the last 2018 to 2021 or whatever. We can't say it. It'll probably be taken off the internet or something. But how much did it have an impact? The good side of TikTok, I know there's a negative side of all social media, but
of course,
how do you find TikTok in general and putting your stuff? I know you do lives. I know you'd be busking on the side of the street in Dubai and all sorts. I see you with your laptop. But yeah, how do you kind of find the whole social media and what you do on it in general?
Part of me definitely thinks. Part of me gets really, and this is again me being honest. It's part of me gets really frustrated because of the mystery that I suppose the mystery that like we used to see in artists, like there were musicians. There was always kind of a mystery to what they do.
Yeah,
and it's. I find that was always kind of exciting. Like you were kind of thinking, who are they? What are they really about? Who's this person?
Yeah.
And I know we were just chatting about how it should just be about music and whatever else. But again, it's like, people are realistically listening to your music and that, but they're going to want to obviously then know what you're about. Like,
yeah.
But then there was a nice part of, your privacy was there, was the thing where they didn't know that. And that was really, really nice, like back in the day. But then we only miss what we don't have, isn't it? We only want what we don't have. So if I probably lived back then, I may be saying something different again.
Yeah.
But I find it hard to find a middle ground between giving people too much of like my life and stuff and then the business side of creating content and
promoting
putting it out.
Your stuff, yeah.
But I like to think that the people that listen to what I'm doing, they know me well enough at this stage and how I put myself across. They know that like that's, that I have that sort of line there, and it's I very much just post all music. Like there's never really anything, maybe a stupid like photograph that I caught of myself somewhere.
Yeah.
But like it's never, here's what I think about this person, here's what's going on in my life. It's like, well, here's why you're here. You're here to want music. Here's your music.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening. And you have to. Anyway, what were we talking about? TikTok. Sorry, way up.
No, you're spot on. I think
as a tool, but as a business tool.
Yeah, like just in general, because I know it definitely helped you.
Me
grow.
Doing a full podcast on each individual thing.
TikTok, right? Instagram. Then we'll go to Twitter. But yeah, no, I think that's where obviously I knew you from school, but then I started seeing you more and more. And TikTok, the algorithm used to be like, you'd be pushed on the For You page and it just was random, and seeing you more and more. And that's when I was like, I always knew you could sing, but then started following your stuff. And then I'm sure...
You said he's shite.
He's awful. No, man, my whole family be listening to you. But TikTok, I'm sure, has been a massive benefit of yours. But as you said, you find it hard to balance between showing everything. And I think everyone finds that difficult, though. I think...
Well, I find it hard. I suppose now it's very much... I work with a really, really good team. So it's very much... We tick the box off. And this is... where we're at now, like we our jobs are TikTok, Instagram. We have to post content.
Yeah.
To essentially what I make is music. It's a sound, but now we're being based on that sound through a visual.
Yeah.
And we just have to do it, and that's just it. And you can cry all day about it, like, or you can have fun while doing it. It's a necessary evil. You have to do it. Yeah. And
I think if you're true to yourself, it isn't really an evil. It's just a way of getting yourself out there. And look. Promotion, marketing in general can be seedy, and whenever someone says, "Oh, I'm doing this for the business," people are like, "Oh, he's not being true to himself." That's not true. As long as your message is true and what you're saying is real, the tactic in which to do it that's just you just have to do that to get your stuff out there because it's the way the platforms work. Like, for example, having a hook at the start of a video or trying to get someone to watch your video, because it's all about watch time. If someone doesn't watch your video, you can't have the impact you want to have. If someone's not watching your stuff, you can't reach more people. You can't bless more people with your voice. I'm the same.
Blast.
Hashtag blessed. If you don't, if I don't reach people, I can't have clients that I then can't help get to where they want to be. You know what I mean?
Bless us. Class.
So it's so true. And I think sometimes people are like,
the tea's at me now, boys.
Well, it's freezing. The tea's freezing.
The tea's cold as we boot.
But I wanted to get into. We've only got like 10 minutes. It's
Why am I getting a laughing fit here in the middle of this?
I underestimate time, man, on these podcasts. Anyone who listens to Dirt Civil will know we ramble on for hours.
I was rapping Dirt Civil before Dirt Civil was Dirt Civil.
Man,
do you remember the t-shirt?
We got you a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Man?
I was rapping. I still rap it. Like,
man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. But that's what I said. Flip, I sent that to you ages ago.
It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
it was
crazy. But no, like we don't have much time now. But I wanted to get into the songwriting because that is, you write all your own songs, right?
I do. Yeah, I co-write some of them. Some of them I co-write. But see the writing thing when it says credits and like written by, and there's like a few other people. It can be. You've written like 80% of the words, but someone may have helped you with the melody.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's all equal, and it should be that way, because someone could. Yeah, it's a collective energy in a room when you're writing music, and you invite people into certain sessions, songwriting sessions, for their attributes and for what they're good at. Like I personally, I love doing verses and starting into a song and why is that song gonna just instantly grab you?
Yeah.
And that's what I love. But then I also love how do you get a chorus right up there that it's really gonna poke you. But sometimes it's getting the two to link in a bridge or a pre-chorus. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's amazing talented people out there, and their jobs are to help you get them wires that are crossed and stick them in and get the power going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, some people are just so talented at songwriting, but they don't perform it, or haven't pursued a path of music performance, and in that way, whereas I have. So and some of them they're just class.
Yeah.
Some songwriters are just like,
I know, because you always hear of I always find it fascinating. You always know the ones that he's a songwriter as well, or you always see them working away in the background. But then you have some songwriters that never perform. It's two totally separate things. I guess it's like completely just the same way for. You have actors and you have screenwriters.
Yes.
It's totally
it's exactly that.
Totally different. Like they're putting the words, but then the other person can portray it better. Mm-hmm. You're very fortunate and you're good at both.
Thank you.
Which is blessed.
Yeah, it's
blessed.
Blessed.
I think it is amazing that songwriting it's something that I like. As I said, not a musical bone in my body, but being able to portray a song in words is an extreme talent. And it is.
I'm just picturing you there with a pen, just pure. Oh, is that the right word? Is it pure trying to write a tune?
I wouldn't have a clue. I try and make Instagram reels
Blessed.
make sense without writing absolute nonsense on there. But
no, it's a beautiful thing to be able to, and as when we were chatting about expression as well, to be able to listen to it back. And usually, the sessions. Usually the songwriting sessions, just fucking moving that.
Yeah.
They happen so quick that it's like a flash. So the next thing you sit in, and like we're doing in this podcast is flu. Yeah. It's like being like 10 minutes, 3 hours and by. But you start the songwriting session, and you just get in this weird flow, and the next thing there's a song, and you're listening to it through the two speakers, and we're all sitting back going, oh my god, how does this thing exist?
We made this.
We made this, and it's nuts.
It's magic, like.
But yeah, some of the songwriters I write with are they're Irish lads, like.
Yeah.
And some of them are the team that I've been with since I was 20, and they're from London, and they literally met me on the street, like, and I go over frequently and just write stuff. Like, we have hundreds of songs just sitting ready, and we only release certain ones like that are
They met you when you were busking?
Yeah, literally Hartford, just Hertfordshire. Crazy. Just over there, north of like London, and it's mad. And his name's Bobby, actually. Shout out Bobby. He's probably never. I don't know, maybe. Hopefully, Dirt Civil blows up.
If he doesn't listen to it,
morning coffee with him. Yeah, I'll send it to him actually. His name's Bobby, and he was a massive help. He was straight away met eyes, and we're kind of yeah, we're going to be working together for the rest of our lives, and let's do this, and it was.
Because you can't go it alone,
100%.
You need people around you.
He'll call me just some days, and it's more for us. My team is it's 24/7. The job is always 24/7. You can get a text at 9 o'clock at night, and it's keep this date free because this is happening. Yeah. This could potentially be happening. We're going here. and it's always, again, like, the industry that I work in is, unless it's literally penciled in exactly, like, it can change all the time. But the team I work with they'll call me up and be like, how's things, how are you today, what are you doing, they're like, you know, great friends as well, so it's really good to have such a good team. They're amazing.
I'm sure they're like family, because you're going to spend a lot of time with these people, like,
and then we know that in the future, like when we're touring the world, and it will be hopefully now, that's what we're aiming and what we're planning the whole campaign towards is those world tours. But it's good to have
I want
them.
tickets too, like.
Yeah, you'll be there. We'll be doing a podcast in the bus.
Mate,
it'll be class.
No, it's like, I was gonna ask you about goals and dreams and all the rest, and what you kind of want to achieve. You said there world tours, you want all of that. What's the big goal? Like, what's the big goal? I know you're in the moment and you're in the flow and you're like, I'm just doing what I love, which is incredible. But is there anything that kind of sticks out in your mind where you're like, when you hit it, you're like, you know, that's it. You met James Blunt, which I'm sure was a big kind of tick milestone achievement.
Yeah, that was a big. That was the moment where
this is all
everything got serious. That was when it was, and I don't mean because he's James Blunt. Serious in a way that everything made sense. All the coincidental moments that I ever had, that I was like, well, this is a bit like coincidental to be true. And for instance, one of the managers that I work with now, he's phenomenal. He's such a hard worker. He gets everything done. And he's so well connected in the world, so well connected, and he lands everything. He ticks all the boxes. I was busking down in Ennis, down in West Clare, which is sort of, I suppose, somewhere he would be around and based. And this was 3 years before we actually fully met again. And he drove past. He gave a card out the window. And he was like, give me a call. I know this is really weird, but like, give me a call. This is really strange. I know I look like a weirdo. He's really like, just make sure you call me. And me being me, like, whatever, the fella that plays the cajon beside me, he actually got the number off him. And I came back from the toilet and was like, what's that? And I was through it. I was like, no. I was like, I don't need it up here. I'm going to do it myself. Coincidence, after travelling the whole of Ireland and inside out, every little town, place, everything, doing the whole thing. Amazing fun. Then went to London, like over to England, played all that inside out. Then met my team, met Bobby, all of that there. We get in touch with a record label, who then say, well, here's actually our guy. And I get a call from Matt, one of the lads I work with in over in London, and he says, how's it going? Yeah, Brad, bruv. Yeah, I was like, how's it going? Look, why did you seem so like, yeah, I'll try and play cool. He's like, we met this guy, and he's like, his name's, and I won't say his name, the dude I met 3 years ago, and we literally, and we met, and he was like, he's been trying to find you, not in a weird way. He was like, but he's been like looking for you. He said what he heard that day was like really special, and he manages like a few very reputable artists, and he's one of the loveliest people, like really is, considering his job and all that's at stake. He's very very good. But 3 years it took, and somehow we still connected. Yeah, absolutely. And today we both, all of my team, share that envisionment of hopefully now all being well, where we want to be as a team, and you know, obviously making music and pursuing all that. But they share that with me. You know, they see that, and I feel that off them. And it's a really healthy, happy place to be. So the main goal, as you were saying, as long as I can get to play music, and I have everything that I need right now, and all the feelings of what's going on, what's happening, am I on the right track, are these things coincidental, is it a certain way, we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
And it seems like it's amazing to get an insight, like what you were saying there as well. Connection and energy is so like obvious in your team and what you're doing, and the people that you're trying to, you know. Too
much at times. Sometimes I'm like, am I just being over analytic about things, or is this actually how it is? And I say, I obviously look for outside advice and a third person opinion, and it always sort of boils down to, that's really strange that just happened. And there's been loads anyway, and I won't go into them, but like it's some of them have just been just absolutely crazy. And again, I suppose to the point then when I'm looking at James Blunt, and I'm kind of like, this sitting here all along. It was kind of, you know, which is amazing. He's such a lovely human, and
man, he's great.
You know, I'm sure. Well, I don't want to say too much about it, but we'll be. Hopefully, at some point, you'll be at a show as well with him and me, and we'll go for it. Like, it'll be class. Absolutely. Let's do a podcast on a James Blunt tour. How's that?
Mate, absolutely incredible. And look, it's been amazing to kind of dig a little bit deeper. As I said, I watch you on TikTok. We went to school together, but I love seeing people doing what they love to do and just putting their stuff out there, being true to themselves, being honest, and all the rest of it. We talked about coffee for about 30 minutes, but
that's why I'm here as well, because it's the same thing. Apart from my job and what I do, there's obviously a human being here, that lives a life and like does all these things through life, and it's the same. I'd share definitely that same motto. Like I love seeing just people, you know, doing well and pushing, and it's that's the way it should be always. You know,
100%.
It has to be.
Sometimes we want, like, it's very easy to see that people want people to do well, but not better than them, or they you know, they don't want to see. And I'm just like, I just want everyone. You know, there's a lot for everyone in this world, and I just want people to go after what they want. That's where the True Potential program. It's where it all came from. But let's. And
I love that. Like that's why I'm here. I love that. Like, and I'm all for that. Like inside out, all day, every day, and I'll always like support that. Like, because I think that's the purest form of. It's the purest form of this whole thing, of our whole conscious, like, collective human race. Like, we should all be doing that, like, you know.
100%.
That's 100%. Like, that's the key, and I love that, like, and that's what everything should be based around and promoted. It should all be about that, like, you know.
We should be bringing each other up, and that's where the positives of social media really are prevalent. Like, it's when people are bringing each other up. That's when you notice it. But it's, you know, there's always the negative side. But look, hopefully everyone sees the light someday and everyone brings each other up. But that's just the way of the world, isn't it? That there's always negativity. But let's finish it off. Let's round it off. Dancing in My Head. What, man, that tune, it's a bang on. You're saying there's so much more to come and all the rest, but I was waiting for that song to come out. Like, I'm not just saying that to blow smoke. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, I could just say, oh, I love the song. I've listened. Man,
it's a nice song.
It's the only song I listen to my Spotify.
I'm so glad you like it, because it's
amazing. My mum loves it too.
I'm actually so glad you like it, because it was a very I've been hearing it. You see, it's like a year and a half in the making.
Yeah. So
it's very much. It's been sitting ready, and just we've been waiting to mix it and get it sorted by the right person throughout like the year or two.
Yeah.
So it's nice to, after it's been in my head, dancing in my head. It's been in my head for like a year and a half. The excitement kind of came and went, and it was gone.
Yeah.
And then we got it reproduced, and the next thing it just popped, and I'm really, it's probably the first time in my life I've actually put out something I'm like still listen to it every time.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it, like, you know, not to say, oh, I think my tunes are class.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying, but
no, you should.
I'm proud, and it
should.
sits well with me. Like the work that I put out is I think it's exactly where I wanted it to be.
Yeah. No, definitely, man.
I'm glad you like it.
It's in my head constantly, and obviously so much more. Like, I can't wait to follow the journey more and see the other songs you put out. Can't wait to have a podcast with James Blunt. It's gonna be incredible. But no, look, man. Watch your socials, promote yourself. Where do people find you? I hope that everyone goes and listens to your music and follows you and all the rest, because you won't regret it. That I'm telling you that now. So plug your socials. Where can people find you? At
Brad Heidi, and I always hate doing that, because it's like, guys, if you want to follow me,
I know.
But yeah, Brad Heidi. I'll be tagged here. I'm sure I'll be tagged.
100%. I'll put everything in the description and on Spotify and in the what do you call it and all that good stuff. But tag you Instagram, TikTok. TikTok's where you're most active, right?
I post on TikTok because I have to. Instagram, I prefer Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram Reels all day, every day. It's just it's just nicer. It's more fluent or something.
100%.
TikTok's very like dead end and competitive and saturated.
A lot of random stuff on there.
Yeah, Instagram's kind of
you can put more your own. You can build a personality, I think, more on Instagram than TikTok.
Yeah, you can be more. I don't know. I feel like just exactly what you said.
Yeah, I feel like your following you more for you on Instagram. You can build like a community, whereas TikTok seems a bit like the way they do their like.
Oh, you're the guy that did that thing.
Yeah,
like, oh, you're the guy that I follow because I love all them things that you do all the time. Yeah, Instagram's one like that.
100%. I totally agree. But look, Brad, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Chin.
The tea's
Thanks for having me.
The tea's freezing, like, but
sure. Look, coffee. Coffee's freezing, man. We're coffee podcast.
I've just exposed myself, but no, look, we'll have to do it again sometime. Like we could speak for hours. Actually, hashtag blessed. We could speak for hours. We could chat about so much more. I had loads of stuff on a page there, and we went on tangents and all sorts. But that's the best podcast when you're just in flow.
It should be like, you know. That's,
absolutely. But look, thank you for coming on,
amazing.
man.
Thank you for having me. Like in a serious note, did you know?
No, it's been great having you.
So happy to be
here in this lovely
so
studio.
happy to be alive and well, and you know, here we go, David Attenborough again.
Gratitude, man. That's what it's all about. But look,
blessed.
Hashtag blessed. Thank you for listening, guys. If you want to follow the podcast, Morning Coffee with Tim on Instagram. There is a TikTok page, but nothing ever goes on there. Follow us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense. There'll be reels and stuff going out. There's incredible guests coming up, more incredible conversations like we had with Brad, and have an incredible day, whatever you're up to. Don't forget to grab a coffee, get your steps in, and I'll see you in the next one.
Blessed.